Innovations Part 3, The Nursing Advocate Role by Amber Sparks. So my innovation is to create a nursing advocate role for every unit of a hospital as well as every unit in long-term care facilities. And I'll go into more of what that role is. But the reason that we need it is because of the high instance of burnout in the nursing field. Burnout is caused by long hours, the emotional toll of taking care of patients, losing patients, dealing with family members who are stressed and scared. And speaking of stress, the nursing field is very stressful. You have to be constantly vigilant to make sure that you are providing the level of care that patients need and making sure that you are, dosing things accurately and not causing more harm than good. Why is burnout an issue? When you're burned out, you're less likely to care about what you're doing. You're more likely just to see nursing as a set of tasks rather than the patients that you're caring for. You're more fatigued, which can lead to difficulties problem solving and thinking clearly. We've all had those long nights when we're up studying and the next day you just kind of feel like you're in a fog. You're not able to process things as well, which can be dangerous. You're more likely to be disciplined for being tardy, missing shifts, calling out. Your reliability just goes down because you're so tired that you are more likely to dread going into work. You're more likely to be run down and get sick. And you're less likely to catch mistakes with patients' orders or medications. So you're more likely to make errors. The cost of nursing burnout on institutions, it costs less to retain good nurses than it does to hire new nurses. When you're hiring new nurses, you have to pay for the advertising, for the hours spent looking for a nurse, interviewing new nurses, and then training the new hires. Also, hospitals and assisted living facilities have to use agency nurses when they're short-staffed, which we all know they are paid much more. So that's more of a cost. Reputation of the hospital or assisted living facility just within the nursing community, word of mouth is everything. So if you're hearing that, this facility, the nurses are underpaid, overworked, short-staffed, constantly stressed out, the practices aren't safe, then you're less likely to want to work there. And they're less likely able to hire new nurses. Culture of the team and facility, teamwork and patient care is impacted with nurses that are burned out. We touched on that on the last slide. And then new hires coming in may not want to stay because of the vicious cycle of short staffing, burnout, no retention. The teamwork and culture takes a hit. So everyone wants to work in a good team with a good culture, and that's just not the case when you have burnt out, stressed out nurses. Nurses need holistic support also. We're taught to take care of the whole entire patient, not just the physical. And so with us too, we need emotional support. We need physical support, with back injuries, with being on our feet all day, the mental strain of the job, but also just something to consider, job satisfaction and work-life balance. We all want to work for a supportive culture, a supportive team. We all want to have lives outside of work. And when it feels like your work has just taken over everything, that's not a great feeling in life. So the nurse advocate role would be to provide holistic support to the nurses on the unit. So to address all of those things, emotional, physical, mental. This role is not a charge nurse role. I think that from what I've seen, the nurses do kind of take on some of this because of just the necessity. There's no one there to fulfill that role really. So charge nurses spend a lot of time, I think, kind of hearing about, situations within the team or conflicts within the team or things that happen to patients, debriefing. They take on a lot of that along with all of their other things that they need to do. So this role, the nurse advocate role, is just specifically to take care of those things for nurses, which would free up the charge nurses to deal with what they actually need to be dealing with, which is more related to patient care. Nurse advocate responsibilities would be to assist with resolution for scheduling needs that arise. So they would help to find the best solution to scheduling conflicts and filling in gaps so that the unit can be well staffed and that everyone has a schedule that works for them. I at least have seen that scheduling is huge when it comes to job satisfaction. If someone is put on nights who doesn't want to be on nights, they're not going to last very long if they're not happy with their schedule or if they're not feeling a good work-life balance. So obviously there's gaps that have to be filled in, and not everyone is going to have that perfect schedule all the time, but they can help to kind of fill in those things. And if someone comes to them and says, hey, this isn't working for me, maybe, Sally that they talked to last week was looking for something new as well, and they can just kind of help to facilitate that. They would help to provide debriefing after traumatic events like code blues, unexpected deaths, conflicts with patients, family members, other members of the team, or anything else that nurses need support for. So just to kind of provide that environment, encouraging communication, encouraging, getting your feelings heard, and providing that validation. They can do referrals to therapists, doctors, physical therapists, just the appropriate other personnel if things need to be addressed that are outside of their scope of practice or something that can't be done on the clock that day. If there's an injury, or if, someone's feeling like their foot has been sore for a week and they need some time off to go to the doctor, just anything like that. They can provide assistance with communication needs between team members, nurses, doctors, etc. So, if Heather is just kind of in a cranky mood today and everybody is just feeling really like walking on eggshells around her, that could be something that the nurse advocate could pull her aside and just say, hey, Heather, what's going on today? You don't really seem like yourself, and maybe to help to address that before it kind of brings the whole team down. And then supporting new hires. So obviously new hires need to be trained in and or with someone. But just the fear of being a new nurse, meeting everyone new and not knowing how to do things, the stress of it, all of that kind of stuff. They can just be there to support them and maybe just listen if there's, some issues or concerns that come up there. So in conclusion, a healthy, happy nurse is a nurse capable of providing excellent care. And I think that it's very important, especially in a field that is so hard on you physically, mentally, emotionally, can be very fulfilling, obviously, but also just there is that need. And I have seen it, as I'm sure everybody has at clinicals on the unit, with the nurse that just is just so tired and so unhappy with where they're at. And I think that this role would help to open that up. And also, I think it'd be a role that nurses would enjoy, like maybe someone who kind of wants to go into admin but doesn't want to do that much, working with like the management team administration, but wants to help because that's what nurses like to do. So yeah, here's my references that I found. Most of it is regarding like retention and compassion fatigue and nursing roles and like how to help with job satisfaction.